If you've played games on the Nintendo 64 at any point in the last 25 years, no doubt you've gotten behind the wheel of the 1996 classic Mario Kart 64. There's not much I can say about this game that hasn't already been said by many. It's a wonderfully crafted kart racer and worthy sequel to Super Mario Kart, showed off what Mario Kart could play, look, and sound like in proper 3 dimensions, and offers fun and fast-paced hijinks, especially when 4 players are together. But beyond all the game's accolades and praise that it's rightfully been given over the years, there is one thing I can share that's a bit more unique to me, and why this game holds a special place in my heart. That's because Mario Kart 64 is the very first video game I ever played. A lot of what I enjoy and appreciate about games, especially racing games, it all started for me here. So with introductions out of the way, this is Mario Kart 64, the game that made me. Mario Kart 64 is all about taking Mario and company on kart racing escapades across the Mushroom Kingdom's many racetracks, with a wide array of items often deciding who will cross the finish line first. While Super Mario Kart was a solid first attempt at what would become a formula for an entire subgenre of racing games, 64 took that game's mechanics, feel, and charm, and further refined them to become a new kart racing standard for its time. The controls are kept simple with gas, brakes, steering, the Z button for items, and the R button for hopping and power sliding. In regards to this game's handling, I've heard it often mentioned that the game feels rather loose, with the wide angle of steering and how responsive your analog stick movements are. While I can understand that sentiment to a degree, I like the sensitivity. It allows you to take more turns normally, makes power sliding less of a necessity, and makes split-second dodges around obstacles easier. Power sliding is still the ideal method for taking sharper turns at full speed, and tilting the analog stick back and forth 3 times, as the letters coming off your wheels turn from white to orange, will give you a small speed boost at the end for your efforts. Hopping isn't just to initiate a power slide, but can also be used to clear gaps and pull off crazy shortcuts. It's not Mario Kart without items, and the arsenal's been upgraded with even more chaotic entries thrown into the mix. There's your standard green and red shells, bananas, and mushrooms, but beyond just getting one at a time, you can also get triple shells and mushrooms, and a banana bunch of 5 to help with your offense or defense. The new fake item box makes for a great trap to throw off unsuspecting racers, and the super mushroom grants you a bunch of speed boosts for a short period of time, making it perfect for catching up. The superstar grants limited time invincibility and increased speed, lightning shrinks everyone and lets you run them over, and Boo makes you invisible, intangible to hazards, and steals an item from someone. And of course, the infamous Spiny Shell made its debut here, with its sights set on taking out the player in first place, and anyone else who gets in its way. While items are meant to equalize the playing field, the probabilities of getting certain ones based on your placement weren't completely regulated yet, so it's not uncommon to get something like a star in second place. While to each their own on if the crazy item balance is fun or not, I personally enjoy it, and when combined with easy-to-learn racing techniques makes for a great time that's rewarding at any skill level.
I got it! Select map.
One of the most prominent improvements Mario Kart 64 features is the diverse track selection. While the total number of courses went from 20 to 16, each takes place in unique locales with their own personalized iconography and hazards. You'll race across many environments, like a trio of character-themed raceways, a wide-open farm, a beautiful beach, a desert railroad, a traffic-filled turnpike, a dirt bike stadium, a massive canyon valley, a lakeside jungle, Bowser's Castle, and the iconic Rainbow Road. The varied tracks also have equally different road types, like tarmac, dirt, sand, and ice, and you'll want to steer clear of areas like grass, water, lava, and the chasms below you. All these track elements combine with plenty of winding turns and elevation changes to make you feel like you're not just racing, but exploring a 3D environment, which gave me the same sense of awe and wonder that players must have felt when playing a game like Super Mario 64 for the first time. Yoshi Valley is so complex with its maze of branching and intersecting paths that the game can't figure out what place anyone's in until they finish the race. Speaking of exploring, I found it really neat that you could freely take a detour on Royal Raceway, and sightsee around Peach's Castle grounds for fun, just like you could in Super Mario 64. Beyond the item box placements that you don't want to pass up, there's also track hazards that will keep you on your toes. From simple trees to groups of crabs, penguins, bats, exploding snowmen, and thwomps, Or massive objects like a rotating egg, a train, or utility vehicles, they all keep you from driving in a straight line and prevent any race from getting boring. I've come to know all these race courses like the back of my hand, so much that I even remember drawing a full map of DK's Jungle Parkway in first grade, with as many details as I could visualize at the time. I felt so proud hanging that up on the classroom wall.
Select your player!
Mario, alongside some of his best friends and enemies, are here to take the track in their character-colored carts. All 8 playable characters are split into 3 weight classes. Mario and Luigi are middleweights, with balanced stats that are fairly good at everything. Peach, Toad, and Yoshi are lightweights who specialize in quick acceleration. Donkey Kong, Wario, and Bowser are heavyweights who take some time to get going, but make up for it with their superior top speeds. The differences between driver types are somewhat noticeable, but not so much that you can't win with your favorite character. I've always been partial to Mario since day one. This was also my first Mario game after all, and I do love my racers in red, so he's the perfect fit for me. While there's only one kart design in this game, it's one that looks good no matter what color it's in or who's behind the wheel. They looked so cool to me that they're part of the reason why I got into actual go-kart racing, and I remember being especially happy when this design finally got made into a Hot Wheels toy last year. Mario Kart 64's looks are an interesting case, with some visual design choices that make it stand out amongst every other game in the series. The most obvious aspect of the graphics is that the course environments are in 3D polygons, in contrast to the characters and some background elements as digitized 2D sprites. I assume this was a deliberate choice of optimally rendering 8 polygonal characters, plus scenery objects on detailed tracks wasn't going to run well, so an alternative artistic solution was devised instead. The sprites themselves are very high quality, based on the same CG models used for this game's artwork, so the characters look very faithful as a result. Nearly every angle you could view the characters in a 3D space has frames accounted for, so they feel like they're accurately interacting with an environment. As for the tracks themselves, they're well modeled with plenty of details big and small to faithfully depict the various level themes. Wario Stadium's massive grandstands and Jumbotron that feature your live gameplay, and Sherbet Land's icy reflections serving as great examples. Adorned throughout the tracks are signs and billboards with racing sponsor logos based on Mario characters and items, which really helps sell the idea that Mario Kart is an officially sanctioned racing league within the Mushroom Kingdom. Another neat visual touch that's unique to this game is the use of onomatopoeia for various situations that happen during a race. I especially like the ones used for hopping and spinning out. If you run over a banana, hitting the brakes in time to slow down enough and prevent spinning out gives you a little musical note to let you know you're okay. While the frame rate is mostly stable, it can drop when there's a lot happening on screen, but it's not so detrimental that the game becomes unplayable. The dynamic camera is also quite helpful. Whenever you're holding items behind you, the camera automatically zooms out so you can get a better look at who's on your tail, and can better position your aim and have a better chance at landing a hit. The soundtrack is an eclectic mix of musical styles, from fast and bombastic racing fare, to more dark and moody themes, a few jazzy beats, and wacky and whimsical themes befitting of a Mario game like the Superstar jingle. Every song playing on the title screen, menus, and tracks fit like a glove, and the staff roll theme never fails to get me teary-eyed whenever I hear it. There's even a cool little secret hidden when the race results theme plays. There's a second verse of the song, but it only plays after the original version loops 64 times without interruption, which takes about 50 minutes for that to happen. I unintentionally stumbled upon this tidbit when I was a kid, by just leaving the game on for too long one time, but I do remember my ears perking up when the music changed seemingly out of nowhere, and I just had to experience it for myself one more time for the memories. The final touches that truly bring this game to life are the character voices and sound effects. All of the playable characters have a sizable amount of one-liners they shout during a race for every situation, with Mario also doubling as the game's announcer in the international releases.
Let's go! Okay?
Being greeted on the title screen with
Welcome to Mario Kart!
puts the biggest smile on my face every time. The 4 different kart engine hums pair perfectly with the tire screeches when turning or power sliding, and when driving over the varied surfaces with unique sound effects. The sounds for each item are also great choices, making them feel satisfying to fire off, especially when they hit their target or give you speed boosts, the Super Mushroom being the prime example in my opinion. Mario Kart 64 isn't exactly the most ambitious when it comes to modes, but there's enough here for 1 to 4 players to enjoy some frantic racing fun. On the single player side, the main draw will be the Mario Grand Prix, where you select an engine level which determines the game's difficulty, and race in a cup of 4 races to earn the most points at the end. 50cc and 100cc will get you used to the controls and tracks without much resistance, but the computer drivers don't mess around with 150cc, so you'll get plenty of challenge from them if you're looking to test your racing and item skills. 150cc also has this oddity where you'll spin out if you steer back and forth too hard too quickly. While the limited number of retries for coming in 5th place or lower is gone, you still can't progress any further until you finish in at least 4th place, and you get as many retries as you need. The higher the finish position, the more points you earn at the end of a round, with a maximum of 9 for 1st place. If you come in the top 3 at the end of a cup, you'll get to take your spot on the winner's podium and be awarded with a bronze, silver, or gold trophy for that cup and engine class. The 4th place winner also gets a prize of their own for their efforts. Once the ceremony's over, you're off to start another cup and repeat the process. Winning all gold trophies on every cup and class will unlock the extra class, which is 100cc with mirrored tracks. Toad's Turnpike at this level is deviously fun and worth checking out at the very least. Alongside the new difficulty, you'll also be rewarded with a new title screen to mark your achievement. If you'd like to practice on tracks without items getting in the way, or to show off just how fast you can breeze through your favorite courses, there's the time trial mode. After your first run on a track, a ghost of your time is saved if you retry for a better record. If you get a low enough time on any of the 3 raceway tracks, you'll also face a staff ghost for a little extra challenge. Obviously, knowing how to pull off this game's many shortcuts are going to net you the fastest times. Some are right in front of you, like the ramp on Koopa Troopa Beach which takes you through the waterfall tunnel. Others are more risky but feasible with practice, like this hairpin turn skip on Yoshi Valley. And of course, there's the legendary Rainbow Road jump off the huge drop at the start, that skips half the track if you stick the landing, which I can't help but attempt almost every time, ever since someone showed me how as a 5-year-old, which blew my mind that something so crazy was even possible. While those are fun enough to master, there's a whole other category of glitch shortcuts that exploit the game's physics and checkpoint systems, but are even more interesting to figure out, and worthwhile for some truly impossible lap records. There are 3 that I can pull off. One on Mario Raceway, which requires a mushroom to clear the invisible gap on this brick wall, another on Wario Stadium, where hopping up the first ramp towards the wall with the right speed and angle will cause you to bounce up and over it, and the last on DK's Jungle Parkway, where if you turn around back into the tunnel, there's a small invisible opening that you jump through that causes you to fall through the level, but resets you near the start line if you got the angle right, and crossing it counts as an entire lap done in less than 30 seconds. I've done these a few times before, usually on the first lap, but I need to practice them more if I want to make them 3 times in a row. If you're particularly proud of a certain run, you can save 2 of them to a controller pack. I didn't have one growing up, so this feature eluded me for the longest time. I was in for a bit of a shock when I tried to save my first ghost, as the ghost yet its file size is very large and uses up almost all of the controller pack space, so I went and bought another one just for this game. Mario Kart is always at its most fun with other players on the couch, as my siblings and I can attest during our childhood years. I originally intended to go the Nintendo Switch Online route for multiplayer footage, but none of my plans worked out, so I got some ROM hacks and Game Shark codes to have the computer join me as the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th players, and help with recording instead, so that's why the gameplay looks a little weird. Another player can join you in a Grand Prix, and the 2 of you can work together, or against each other to take the gold trophy. There's also 2 additional modes exclusive to the 2 to 4 player modes, Versus and Battle. Versus mode is where everyone picks their characters in 1 track at a time for as many races as you all want, and the game will keep score of each player's wins. There aren't any computer drivers in this mode, and sadly no music either once 3 or more players join in. That's not to say there's nothing else out on the track besides your friends. There's also mini-bomb carts that serve as additional obstacles. And finally, the tried and true staple of Mario Kart multiplayer madness, the Battle Mode. You'll play on one of 4 maps, in a last player standing frenzy to pop the other player's 3 balloons, either by hitting them with items, running into them with enough speed to make them spin out, or causing them to fall off the map. Any players who get eliminated before the final 2 are left get turned into mini bomb carts, and can have one final act of revenge or treachery if you run into someone. While the computer opponents did have their moments of challenge and entertainment, nothing can truly replicate the feeling of 4 players out on the track or in the arena, so I'm hoping I'll get another chance to do so soon. So if any of the people I play games with are watching, just say the word and I'll be there. Because I'm always up for playing more Mario Kart 64.
Hee, I got it!
You never forget your first, and first impressions are everything. And what an impression Mario Kart 64 has made on me. I've contemplated this for many years, and after revisiting this game again and gathering my thoughts for this video, I can say this with complete certainty. Not only is Mario Kart 64 the first game I ever played, but it's also my favorite video game of all time. As the game that taught me how to use a controller, enlightened me on how fun video games can be, given me cherished memories with so many people, and helped jumpstart my love for racing, I don't think it's a stretch to say that had 64 not come into my life when it did, I wouldn't be the racing game loving person that I am today. And for those reasons and so many more, all I can say is, thank you Mario Kart 64. As always, this has been fun, and I'm already looking forward to covering another amazing racing game. So I hope you'll check out what I've got in store for next time, and particularly for this very special and personal video, thank you for watching.
Hey, you very good! See you next time!